today's video, we will not argue whether Franz Liszt or Frédéric Chopin is the rock star of Romanticism, or discuss gossip stories where their friendship is threatened by love. What we're going to do is to compare Franz Liszt and Frédéric Chopin from three different perspectives. These two composers were active around at the same time in the 19th century in the Romantic period. Both very talented composers and piano players, but they couldn't be more different. Chopin was all about subtlety and sensitivity, whereas Liszt was all flair and bombast. They have opposite personalities and can be heard from their music. However, this acquaintance of two opposites develops a long-lasting frenemy relationship. Firstly, let's take a look at their composition styles. Their composition styles are influenced by their origin. Chopin grew up in Poland, Liszt was a composer born in Hungary. In Chopin's works, we will find many works directly related to the traditional dance of his country, such as the Polish dance. He adapted the dance rhythm he heard in his early years to his composition. Next, let's continue with a discussion on their lives as teachers. Liszt spent a lot of time with piano teaching. Similarly, piano teacher is one of Chopin's main occupations, because large-scale performances are not his preference. Chopin has been a piano teacher for nearly 2 decades, and he likes this profession very much. Liszt believed that the most important thing in music is the need to show emotion and character in music. Liszt likes to teach groups in the form of master classes. Some students like to take a class every other day. They really want to challenge each other by playing the piano. Usually, Liszt no longer teaches his students about technical issues. That's because, in fact, most of his students no longer have these problems. Chopin was also extremely selective of his students. One of the keys to Chopin's piano teaching is to obtain beautiful sound. He believes that technique and interpretation are always very important. His lessons begin with etudes to enhance hand flexibility. Chopin in fact did not believe in mechanical repetitions of exercises. So how long did these teachers recommend their students practice for? Liszt advised his students to practice 6 or 7 hours a day. This is where Liszt and Chopin are different in philosophy. Chopin was famously against long practice sessions. He prefers his students to spend their time in other fields, such as reading, admiring artworks, and enjoying everything in this world, rather than thinking of practicing piano as a student full-time job. He firmly believes that practicing piano for more than 2 to 3 hours will affect concentration, which is an indispensable and important element in practice. Finally, let's talk about their contribution to piano technique. In the Romantic period, piano music expanded into new areas, which seemed incredible, but two great piano composers Franz Liszt and Frédéric Chopin created miracles. The new invention they proposed completely changed the piano technique. Obviously, compared to previous composers born in the 19th century were influenced by Liszt. Liszt hopes to use his piano composition as close as possible to the different instruments in the orchestra, and use the two hands of the performer to create the whole orchestra. Niccolò Paganini deeply inspired Liszt. Liszt indulged and reshaped the piano with the violin image. Although Liszt already has a high level of technique, he still practices 14 hours a day in order to regain mastery of new skills. The achievement has become a new standard for virtuosos all over the world, which is the simplicity and clarity of playing. But actually, before Liszt, Frédéric Chopin was the most important piano innovator in the era of Romanticism. Chopin's expanded piano technique included a new dependence on pedals, which influenced his later composition style. Through Chopin's piano composition, we can also reveal another vital innovation at the time, which is playing 2 notes against 3 notes. This requires the extreme independence of both hands to complete. The technique of playing the piano is the most important innovation brought by these two composers. Both of them think that performance must require exquisite musicality. Their new technique also requires the least effort to bring the most beautiful music to the most difficult performances. Chopin and Liszt agreed on the piano playing technique by taking into consideration both physical and mental use when playing the piano. Piano performance is no longer just about fingering. That's all the similarities and differences between Liszt and Chopin. All in all, the difference in where they grew up is one of the important reasons why the two composers have very different styles. The big differences lie more in where these two grew up as well as their inherent personalities. Chopin and Liszt have completely different personalities. This can be seen from their different piano playing styles and composition style. Some people think that these two composers are so excellent because they are each other's frenemy. The idea that they want to surpass each other becomes the reason why they are the better over time. No one could deny that they are the greatest pianist of all time.